Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and talk about Littlefinger and also Jon Snow. We're also going to go ahead and talk a little bit about Tyrion. And as I move forward to my next episode of this series, I'm going to talk about Tyrion and why he's the third dragon rider for the Targaryen three dragon theory that everybody's been talking about. So at this time, currently, I'm just going to go over a few of the things that I felt that stood out for me, with Littlefinger and his devious ways. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that he betrayed Ned Stark. And this is something that I think was carefully planned. He did not want him to live, obviously, because he loved Catelyn Stark and he wanted her, but he couldn't have her, so the next best thing was Sansa. Sansa actually did lie for Littlefinger, which then started this whole series of different events of doing things for each other in a concealed way. So in this case, I think it's very interesting that she helped him do something. Um, and then after she helped him, then the series of events of things that happened afterwards were just because Littlefinger is always thinking, he's always trying to find something out. So I'm just going to say that in this case, everything that has happened in the Game of Thrones has been because of Littlefinger. And there are several YouTubers that have the same theories out there. You can watch videos and look at Littlefinger, videos about what he's done to figure all that out if you have not read the books. So it's just interesting that this last episode that we saw, last few episodes in season 6, it kind of made us like, okay, oh my goodness, look what Sansa's done. Well, Sansa's been watching everybody play each other from the get-go. She's watched her dad get killed. She's watched her mother get killed as well. Not watched, but she's been there. She's seen different killings happen. Her brother was killed. Everybody was killed in a 2-week time span, if you will. So it was just crazy that, oh my gosh, her mom died at the Red Wedding due to Walter Frey. And Tyrion told her about what happened. And we will go into that later about what he tells her on their wedding night. It's just really sad what happens to him, but we'll get to that later. Ultimately, Littlefinger kind of co-inspired to get Ned caught up. He told Ned Stark that, you need to make sure that Joffrey's king, because if Stannis is king, you're going to start a war. And he already knew that was going to happen. So he's kind of ahead of the things that he knows people are going to do as well. Because he already had plans on getting Ned under his wing, under his team, so that he can make things happen in a different kind of way. Now, make no mistake of it, Littlefinger is not a fool. He knows a lot of different things. He has spies that look for different information for him, whether it be for his own motivation or for others. But mostly it's for his own motivation, because that's the reason that he has different women that are with the maesters, different men that are actually sleeping with, different men in King's Landing, that they're, swinging that way. So it's basically with this network of people that he has, prostitutes and sex workers that he has working for him, then he can use them to their, his advantage by, getting them in the room, which is an intimate place. They start talking, or they just, say things in front of them and they take down the information. Even Loras Tyrell was under the impression that this guy wanted him and everything, but he wanted him because he was doing a job. And sometimes people with certain ambitions, we'll call it, whether it be men or women, they could want something, and meanwhile this person sits there to watch them. It happens all the time. It's been done over and over again. But the thing that I feel that's most important about Littlefinger is that he actually did set up the Starks and the Lannisters to go to war to get revenge for Catelyn choosing to marry Brandon, eventually Ned, and the whole duel business. So he would thereby take revenge on the Starks for taking Cat away from him. But if Cat is the only person he ever loved, why didn't he try to side up to her when Ned died? Be a shoulder to cry on, give her help to try and get her good graces, and maybe set up the groundwork for some relationship. Okay, maybe that wouldn't work. But in this case, the majority of the series that we've seen, Littlefinger seems to be working against Cat, this woman he claims to love. That seems a little strange, but only on my own account, I think it's really strange that he would do that. So it doesn't even appear that he even cares when she dies. So also, the Lannisters come into this possible revenge scheme. Does Littlefinger want revenge against them as well? Or is it that there's some of the motivation to do different things through them is at work? I'm not sure. So, I mean, why did Littlefinger plot to kill Joffrey? Was that he would try to get Tyrion for the murder of and free Sansa from marriage? But it's a bit of an indirect way to get rid of Tyrion and Littlefinger get rid of Tyrion. So Littlefinger must know that Tyrion is very smart, and if anyone could get out of being executed, it definitely would be him. In fact, the revenge on Littlefinger's part against the Starks and Tullys is a very indirect way to go about it. I mean, if he couldn't possibly foresee that everything would turn out like the way it has, and why he did wait so long to take revenge. Because he already told you, if nobody knows what you want or what you're going to do, then they won't expect or see you coming. So also, why did Littlefinger wait so long to rescue Sansa? And how does she fit into his plans? Yes, she could give him Winterfell and possibly the Vale, but is this still revenge? I think I would be somewhat disappointed in Littlefinger if all the plots and schemes don't work. So I'm not sure what he's going to go ahead and do this next time. So we'll just go ahead and see what he'll go ahead and do in this case. So in this case, I'm just going to break down his character. He loves the game of games and therefore undertakes the manipulation. Also, he enjoys the manipulation of other people too. He's trying to rise as far as possible, and the best way to do this is to manipulate other great houses throughout their conflicts and gain prestige. Titles being of use in various players. He is a short man and comes from an undistinguished little shithole, which is the Fingers, and basically he doesn't have anything else to do. So as far as the Sansa's rescue is concerned, at that time Littlefinger only got involved when he himself was leaving King's Landing, and therefore he could not possibly be linked to her disappearance. His comment to Sansa in the Vale when eating a piece of fruit is noteworthy. Clean hands. Always keep your hands clean. People in King's Landing report seeing Sansa with Sir Dantos on the night of her disappearance. Cersei and her coterie continue to think of Tyrion and Sansa having escaped together. No one has suspected that Sansa is with Littlefinger in the Vale, and that this is being common knowledge in the chapters set in King's Landing. Now, as you know, if you haven't read the books, that's something that's set in the chapters, but I think she might hear about what happened when the Boltons took over, because that's kind of what her dad wanted to happen. So let's just see what happens in that situation. So in this case, that allowed him to get away on, with clean hands. Littlefinger would appear to have a crush on Sansa since she is said to be as beautiful as Cat was. Clearly, he wants to ultimately to know her, in a sexual way, unfortunately, the way he never did with Cat. So in this case, Littlefinger's telling her that a younger woman benefit from marrying an older woman. Obviously, Littlefinger told Sansa this is a way to start conditioning her to accept advances from him. But right now, it's not working. So as we know, we're in season 6 ending, and we're on to season 7. That did not work, and now we're into the place where Sansa actually has something that she needs to hide, but we'll talk about that in the next series. Now, for Jon Snow's situation, I think this is going to be a problem because he wants to be Warden of the North, and so does, he wants to be Warden of the North, which is basically Littlefinger. Jon Snow just got named King of the North. So all of his plans, all his things that he's done, you've seen him bubbling up at the end of series 6. It's the end of series 6. You've seen him. He was not happy when they declared him King of the North. And what's interesting about it, Lyanna Mormont, who is actually the same name besides the last name, Lyanna, is the name of his mother, and she named him King of the North, which she's not his mother. She's only 10. But it's just strange that the person that's 10 years old, that is the Queen of Bear Island, if you will, person that's running it, she is the one telling him, look, I don't care if he's a bastard, he's a King of the North. And now Davos is now actually the hand of the king. So we have a lot going on here. In season 6, we've seen Stannis die. We've seen Davos take over. It's just a shame that his son had to die in the same situation in season 5. His son died, if you don't remember that, Donald's son. And he doesn't have a house right now that's expanded. So hopefully he can, maybe he has a son we don't know about. We don't know this. But all we know is that Melisandre has been sent out of that place because of the killing that she did of Lady Shireen, the princess, that which is Stannis' daughter. She should have been the princess. She should have been at King's Landing, and maybe all of this wouldn't even happen. But they should have just let things be the way that it was. Ned could have just became king if he wanted to, but unfortunately, that's not what happened. And there's actually a scene that is with Littlefinger and also with Ned Stark, where Ned Stark actually is given a chance to actually take in on the treason, but he doesn't accept it. And then that's when Littlefinger comes back and told him, "I told you not to trust me." When I think whatever choice he would have made, I think that he was coming to kill Ned anyways. Ned's choked him before. He's said things to him based on what he's done, obviously. And Littlefinger knows more than we think he does about Jon Snow. And I think that even all of his plans, all of his things that he's done, everything, every plan that he's made has crumbled up in his face, because now other people are naming Jon the King of the North when Jon was saved by Littlefinger and Sansa, actually. Sansa, in that case, probably feels a little jealous that they're saying that he's the king when she's the one that saved everybody from being killed, because she made a choice that Jon could not make, and nor could he have done without her. So there's actually something that Sophie Turner does say on some commentary where Jon doesn't even realize how much she's done for him. And you can take it the way you want to. But the point of all this is I feel like Jon Snow will find out who his parents are next year, and he will be able to take power. But the only thing that puzzles me is whether he will actually want it after he figures out that everybody lied to him about his mother, but it was for good reason. So at this time currently, we are stuck with the fact that a lot of people are saying, is Dany going to marry Jon? I think that they are, in my own opinion. I think they would be the perfect couple, because she's kind of like Ingrid. She's a wildling woman. She's doing her thing. She does what she wants. She doesn't live like that, but she knows how to use her dragons. And in this case, that's what we're going to talk about next, is a 3-dragon theory about how Daenerys is actually one of the dragon riders, Tyrion, and also Jon Snow. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. I also want to give you some information that I actually researched and found out. So if you don't know, that grayscale is something that probably is an issue for Jorah Mormont. But at this time, you didn't know that the cure for it was standing right in front of him. So if you don't know, Targaryen blood actually does have immunity to grayscale. So there could be a cure for him next year coming very, very soon. And so we'll be back in a few moments, and we'll talk about Tyrion, and we'll talk about all the things that have happened to him and why I think he's definitely a Targaryen. So we'll be back in a few moments. Thank you for tuning into the Throne Room. Go ahead, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me, so that way we can stay up to date with information on the Game of Thrones. So you already know Jorah Mormont and also Brienne. If you haven't heard, they've actually been out trying to schedule some acting practicing before the season starts. They actually were spotted on an airplane, and he was reading a script. So they've been caught up, and we didn't found out. So just know that any information that comes up about the Game of Thrones, I will update that as it comes in. I thank everybody so much for all the people that have watched the videos. And I can definitely say that I love to do Game of Thrones reviews. I love the show. And if you haven't seen The Last Kingdom, I will start doing The Last Kingdom reviews in a couple of weeks to give you some information about this show and how much it's a great filler for the Game of Thrones, as well as Outlander. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Actually, if you'd like to go to my blog, I have a free subscription sign up for you. Guys, like, subscribe, and come back, because I will be talking about my breakdown of Game of Thrones Season 6 and Tyrion, and why he will definitely be one of the dragon riders, and he will be revealed. All 3 of them have something very similar. All their mothers died in childbirth. And so we're going to go ahead and give you more information about why we think Tyrion is definitely a Targaryen, and a little bit more information for predictions on Season 7 of Game of Thrones. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back in a few moments with some Tyrion and the Dragon.